Hello, everybody. This is Julie D. And today I have the wonderful privilege of talking with Judge Julie Schafer. I like your first name. Two Julies today. For the first question, I thought I would start with, why are you passionate about remaining on the 9th District Court of Appeals, and what makes you the best fit for this seat?
Well, I'd like to say that I'm passionate about remaining on the 9th District Court of Appeals because I believe I'm the most qualified and the better candidate in this race. Further, it's in the best interest of the citizens of the district to maintain some stability in the court during times of uncertainty, and certainly COVID has brought that to us. Another issue is the Supreme Court pulled filing deadlines from April until July 30th, and courts haven't been hearing trials until last week or this week. So trial courts are now scheduling trials and hearing them again, which means the appeals from these trials are all going to hit beginning of 2021 and resulting in a glut of appeals all at one time. I think I'm better able to maintain consistency, a timely docket, and sound legal opinions with no learning curve. I think it's in the best interest of the citizens of our district to maintain some stability at this time. I'm the best fit for this seat because I've already had nearly 6 years doing this job. In addition to being a trial court judge on the Akron Municipal Court, I also have 12 years practicing relevant and applicable law in the courtrooms in the district: domestic relations, juvenile, probate, civil litigation, and I have experience as a judge hearing criminal, civil, and traffic matters in municipal court. Having actual experience trying the kinds of cases we hear regularly makes a difference, because experience matters when your job is judging other judges. That's what we do. We hear all the issues that come up in trial courts in Summit, Wayne, Lorraine, and Medina counties.
Well, you mentioned COVID. Tell us how that's affected your job and your campaign.
Well, COVID caused us all to go home on March 13th, and we haven't been back in court since. We do all of our work on iPads anyway. All of our research is done electronically, so it hasn't really impacted that so much. We do hear cases on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and generally we drive to those courts in those counties. So we hear cases in Worcester and in Medina and in Elyria, but we've been doing them all virtually on Zoom, and recently we've been doing them live streaming. We were doing them, posting them on our YouTube channel, but now we live stream them, and we're one of a few courts of appeals in the state that do live streaming. So I think the transparency is important for people. I think there's more visibility now than there used to be, which is actually a good thing. And then as far as campaigning, I have to say that's been a bad thing, because I enjoy getting out and meeting people and going to events and talking to people, and it's just hard when you don't have an opportunity to go out and talk to people face to face, and there's just been so few opportunities for that. We have been doing some door walking and things like that, but no parades. I was ready for parades. I've got 6,000 popsicles and a bunch of wristbands, and I was ready for parades. I bought a whole bunch of individually wrapped hand wipes for the kids so they wouldn't be picking up dirty candy off the ground, whatever. But anyway, so it's had an impact in that regard, and a lot of people would rather stay home than come out to events. So it's been an issue. I think a lot of online stuff has been very helpful. Certainly Zoom has been helpful, because these Zoom interviews allow us to reach more people than we could have before, I think, in a lot of ways. So I don't know, it's unfortunate that we have this, but it's got its good sides as well.
So you've spoken out against political partisanship. I can't say that word. Why is putting there's a lot of peace. Why is putting political beliefs aside crucial to do in the courtroom?
Well, that nasty virus that has infected our executive and legislative branches, then the denizens therein, have truly poisoned public discourse these days. The hostility and the venom are really beyond the pale. Political sausage making between the parties has become such an ugly scene. If that virus infects the court system and the judges see fit to use the court system to advance partisan positions that can't get passed through the legislature, we're through. That's not how the constitutional representative republic was designed to operate. Maintaining impartiality, seeing all parties as on equal footing, is paramount. Listening to their arguments for and against an issue requires a non-biased ear too. So I have never run in a partisan election. Seeing all issues with an open mind and treating everyone fairly and equally has been my goal forever. If partisanship is permitted to enter a courtroom, then litigants won't have any faith that they're going to get an even shake. Our collective confidence in the system will falter, and that virus will take hold. I have demonstrated over the years that I'm the firewall against the virus. I served on the Copley School Board for 14 years. That's a nonpartisan position. So this is actually my 7th nonpartisan election. I was a foster parent for 15 years. I took all kids that came to my house. I take them as they come, and I fostered over 30 children, adopted 3, and public service and taking all comers is what I've done for forever. So I think I'm your best bet to maintain that nonpartisan, hear everything openly and honestly in the Court of Appeals.
And talking with younger people, I hear them saying that, in the future, they don't think there'll be a Democratic, Republican, there won't be parties, because people will just vote for who they want to. When I mention that to older people, they're like, "Oh no, 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 we have to have this," and I'm like, I don't know if that's what the younger people think. I mean, they're going to be the leaders of they're our future leaders.
And I suppose there's a percentage of the population that is devoutly devoted to their party and will vote straight party line no matter what. But I think, if people take the time to look at the requirements of the job and then look at the qualifications of the candidate, I think most people are going to hire the best person for the job, regardless of their personal feelings for that person. We're not hiring. I mean, I saw something the other day about, hey, we're not getting a Valentine to we're hiring a person to do a job. And I think it's not a personality contest. Do you have the resources available to do this job? And I think that if you look at it objectively instead of emotionally, most people will do what's the right thing and hire the best person to do the job. So parties or not, whatever it is, it's going to be. And I think a lot of people, there's a huge number of independents. There's probably more independents than there are party people in county to county. So I think that we already are non-focused on parties. So I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think some people are just kind of like in denial about that. In their own world.
In Medina County, it's like 70, I don't know, it's a huge percent, 60 or 70% are independents. So you can't go straight party line. You
right.
Keep an open mind and you hire the best person for the job.
So the transparency of the court has been important to you. Why? And what are the goals do you have for the court in the future?
Well, I guess our republic was premised on the idea that an educated, well-informed populace will be able to govern itself. So maintaining transparency in the court so that people can see how it operates, that's a big part of education that promotes self-governance. I tried to promote school board meetings being televised when I was on the school board. Wasn't too successful at that, but I tried. And I'm pleased to say that we have become a pioneer among the courts of appeals in posting our arguments on YouTube, and now they're live streaming. So we went to live streaming recently because of with the advent of Zoom, COVID, and social distancing, it's become even easier to provide the public with a clear window to our courtroom. But we generally don't get a lot of people in our court anyway. We're issuing opinions. We're not, we don't have a trial. There's not a trial. We have two attorneys who show up and give 15-minute argument as to why they think they're correct in their position, and hardly anybody ever else comes other than just the attorney. So it's not a big high-profile thing, but you can watch it live streaming online, and I think that that's been a great way to promote public confidence in the judicial system, because understanding what and why we decide things the way we do instills that confidence in people. I think the biggest goal for the court in the future is to maintain the live streaming of oral arguments once we go back to the court. Because of COVID, we haven't all been physically in the court since March. We don't have a set date to return, but I do know that it won't be before the end of this year. But we are instituting a new case management system that will provide greater visibility as to where a case is in the timeline in an effort to have greater accountability to each other and to the public. I also, when I got on the court 6 years ago, I told our court administrator that there needs to be a way to have better communication with the trial court judges so that they know if the case gets reversed, that it's coming back and they need to do something about it. So we did institute it's actually a Twitter account that we have that posts what decisions are going out in which county and the days that they go out. So the judges have greater visibility, the attorneys on the cases have greater visibility, and they can keep an eye out for cases that they filed an appeal on and are waiting for a decision. So my job has always been make sure that the public is educated and well informed. We got nothing to hide, and I'm more than happy to put everything out there so that everybody can see what we're doing.
Well, I guess the fact that you're out there and people can watch live would actually be good for people that are thinking about taking on a career in the judicial system, because they have more access to the goings on that are happening now.
I think it also helps attorneys or even law students who are thinking about doing appellate law, because you can watch other attorneys present a case at the Court of Appeals and goes, oh, I wouldn't do that, or I wouldn't have said that, or I won't be standing around, or I won't be tapping the pencil on the, there's just things mannerisms and things you can learn from watching other people, how they perform. I mean, we're not actors, but we're online. And so that's something to note when you're going to be online. You may even get clients from doing this, but it's important to present a good face to the community as a whole and to be a professional. So those things are really important. And people who Zoom with a ceiling fan whirling in the background or parakeets chirping in the background, or it can, I'm sure it can be very distracting. Like my dog right now is looking out the window. But
I can hear my dog barking outside right now.
Fortunately, my children aren't home. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old are at school today. So, yeah, they're a distraction to it. But fortunately, we do our court during the day when they're in school. So,
Right. Yeah. Well, so I guess they're actually in class.
yeah, they started the first day of school. I have a fourth grader and a second grader. My 13-year-old eighth grader is at a military academy for this year, because he needed to be in class every day, and I didn't want there to be a chance that he's going to end up coming home. He had a miserable last 3 months of the last school year, and I couldn't do that to him again. So as much as I'm sorry that he's not here, he's with a bunch of guys doing guy things, and I know he's happy. So as long as he's got snacks, he's okay.
I think that snacks make everybody happy.
Snacks, yeah, he learned he was getting 3 packs of Oreos yesterday, and he's excited about that. So
Yeah, and obviously this has affected children so much.
yeah. Yeah.
Whether they're in school or online, it's been difficult for the kids.
Well, I think the special needs kids who have IEPs, my 10-year-old had a full-time scribe, a full-time aide. I mean, he had PT, speech there. We just kicked him to the curb. And, the last 3 months of last school year, he's so far behind. He'll catch up, but, it's a struggle for those kids that are special needs kids. We can't provide the same services at home as we're not educators. I'm trying to run a one-room schoolhouse with a 7th grader, a 3rd grader, and a 1st grader. Yeah, it was interesting, but I'm not a one-room schoolhouse teacher. So appreciate all the things that the teachers do to make sure these kids are educated.
Absolutely. And yeah, I know a lot of students are, no matter if they're in class or online, this has been all very difficult for them. So
yeah,
this whole year is going to have an asterisk next to everything, even the sports. We just we just did the best we can. That's what the tagline. We just did the best we can together. So
made do with what we had. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. And hopefully next year is not going to be like a movie plot. The blockbuster.
God willing, we'll be in good shape next year. We've already suffered through the worst so far. So let's see.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
Well, I guess I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share with you today. I need to emphasize that experience in our court system really matters. Understanding and experience in different courts, jurisdictions, and the relevant law that's applicable to those courts really matters. Effectively managing a docket and being responsive to litigants matters. For over 20 years, you've trusted me to protect your money, your schools, your children, and your rights. You're still safer with Schafer.
Wow. That's a great line.
Thank you.
Well, and thank you for taking the time. I know that you're a busy, mom and judge, and you have a lot going on, but it meant a lot to me for you to sit down with me today.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you very much, Julie.
Well, you have a great day, Julie. Bye.